Play the intro.
Oh, are we on the air?
Don't forget to subscribe.
Play the 6 in the corner. Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. Today I'm going to teach you how to get position using multiple rails, whether it's three rails or 4 rails. I'm going to show you how to get to different locations on the table using those rails and how not to be afraid of using multi-rail position. In games like 9-ball especially, you need to understand multi-rail position because the balls are spread out. 8-ball, the same thing. Your balls are probably some down there, some down here, and as you get to your end game, you're going to be able to get around the table and there's not going to be other balls for you to collide with, so you'll be able to do a lot more things when there's just 3 or 4 balls on the table if you understand multi-rail position. A couple things you need to know. The shot that I just showed you is the cornerstone for everything that you're going to need to know to play this multi-rail position. What I mean by that is this ball goes off of 3 rails because there's a spot right here. In the case of this table, it's just a little bit above that 3rd diamond. With running English, it's going to take you to this pocket. It might not be exactly in this pocket, it might be high or low, depending on how much spin you put on the ball, which we're going to talk about in a second, how high you hit it on this rail, on this long rail. But all you need to know is that coming off of that long rail is going to put you in this zone. That's really all you need to know. You don't need to know the math. You don't need to know the diamond system or anything like that. The next thing you need to understand is that every shot is going to involve running English. Now, what is running English? If my object ball is here and my cue ball is here, and I want my cue ball to go around the table in this direction, counterclockwise, I'm going to hit the cue ball on the left-hand side, causing it to spin this direction. This is essential for these shots. Do not shoot these shots with the wrong English. None of it will work. Do not shoot these shots without applying the spin at all. None of it is going to work. Anytime you're working a diamond system or multi-rail shots, you're most likely going to have running English on that shot. And that is going to be essential. So understanding, when I say high left, that's what we're putting on the ball. High right, that's what we're putting on the ball. You don't need a GoPro to see exactly where I'm hitting the ball. My spot on that cue ball, my high left and your high left might not be in the exact same spot. You should not be mirroring somebody else's stroke. You should be mirroring a stroke that you can shoot consistently. And I put an awful lot of spin on the ball, which is probably more than you want to do. So you need to find your spot, your sweet spot that you can consistently hit all the time. FYI, I never worry about tips of English. If I'm putting left or right on the ball, there is no need to worry about 1 tip, 2 tips, or 3 tips. What I'm doing is I'm putting high right, high left, and I'm hitting it in the same spot where I hit it each and every shot that is using that amount of English. When I say I'm loading up on English, I'm not adding tips of spin. What I'm doing is I'm adding follow through or a little zip or maybe a little bit of force follow to it, but always hitting the cue ball in the same spot for my high, right, left, low, high, whatever the shot is. Draw with right, draw with left. I'm hitting the ball in the same spot. So don't get drawn into tips of English, because what it does is it changes the shot each and every time you shoot it, and what you want is consistency. You can't play a diamond system of any type, whether it's intuitive or with the math, if you change the number of tips of English you're going to put from one shot to the next. It's just not going to give you the same result. So find your spot that works for you, that you can consistently hit, and you'll find that these shots are going to be a lot easier for you to do on a regular basis. So here we have a shot where we're on the wrong side of this 6 ball. We need to get on the 7 ball. We're going to put high left with a little bit of force follow to come around the table to get our position on the 7. Now this shot is not only good for getting on that 7 ball, but it's good for getting anywhere on the table. You could put that 7 ball at any location and give me this angle, and I'm going to be able to get on the ball. What I mean by that is the 7 ball's here. I come off of that rail and just cruise up here. I'm going to have position on the 7. 7 ball is here. You come off of 2 rails, you're going to end up over here just holding up the shot. Even if the 7 ball was here, you can still get position on it by coming off of 3 rails, and you actually can pull right between these 2 balls. You'll learn exactly where you need to hit and how much force follow or follow through you need to put on the ball to get to different locations. And you'll also develop an understanding of how this is going to be affected versus this. Let's look at our next shot. Looks a lot different. We're going into the corner pocket. We've got a wide cut angle. We're still trying to get down here on this shot, but it is the same shot fundamentally. This time what we're going to do, again, we're going to put left hand spin on it so that we have running English. We're going to come off of this rail and this rail and this rail and then pull up for the 7 ball. Shots like this come up all the time in 9 ball and even in 8 ball, where you need to get from one end of the table to the other. People try to hold it up, they just shoot it in and they end up in this position or here or even worse over here. It's a lot easier to get position than you would imagine if you know these shots. So this is number 2 out of the 5 shots, and it's simple. High left hand spin. We're coming off of that rail, and this rail to pull up for the 7 ball. Shot looks like this. We got perfect position on the 7. We left ourselves a little bit of an angle so we can get position on the 8. The 9's in the pocket. We're out. Once again, it's not just one shot. That shot off of that 6 ball came around the table, gave us a number of different position locations. If our 7 ball was somewhere else, we could have still gotten there off of that shot. The great thing about 3 rail position is that it's moving around the table and you can stop it at any point you want just based on the speed you apply. Let's look at the next shot. Remember this shot? 6 balls headed in the wrong direction, 7 balls down here. We went off of 3 rails going this way to get to the 7 ball. But this time we have a problem. That 9 ball is right in our path. So if we shot our 3 rail shot coming off of this rail first, we would just collide with the 9. The cue ball would stall. We wouldn't have a shot on the 7 and the world would be terrible. So we're going to do something a little bit more exotic. This shot is going to look beautiful. It's going to look difficult. It's going to be impressive, but you might already have this shot in your game and don't realize it because you never tried it. What we're going to do this time is, instead of going off of 3 rails this way, we're going to shoot a draw shot, and we're going to come around here, come off of this rail, spin off of that rail to this one, head over here to this rail, and move in the line with the 7 ball. The shot looks like this. Low left hand English. Once again, always running English. And we get perfect position on the 7 ball. The one thing that you always have to be conscious of is the idea that all of these angles that we're taking lead to the corner pocket. You don't have a lot of control over a shot like this because you're shooting with a lot of the things that you lose control over. Draw, spin, multiple rails, all of those things cause you to lose control. As you get good at this, you'll have a very good idea of where that cue ball is going to end up, but you'll also have an idea of how to hold it up. So if you have an opportunity, what you want to do is don't let the cue ball reach the pocket. If you hold it up here, you don't have to worry about scratching. Well, how do you hold it up here? You shoot hundreds of these and you learn to find a zone. You also learn that just a slight angle, just a slight change on this ball from here to here will change everything about this shot. You will not be headed towards that pocket anymore if the cue ball is here versus here. So you only need a slight angle and you only need to hold up the cue ball here in order to not worry about scratching. So a shot might look like this. Same shot, sharper angle. We come off of this rail much higher, as you notice, because we had a much steeper cut shot there. And again, great position on the 7. We're going to get on that 8 automatically. So keep that in mind. You can change up the shot by cheating the pocket a little bit. You can change up the shot by putting a little bit more zip into it, whether it's a follow shot or a draw shot. And I know that that shot looks a little tough for some of you guys, but if you have a decent draw shot, if you can draw from one end of the table to the other, you may have that shot already without even putting a lot of work into it. Low, left-hand English, so you have running English as you go around the table. Let's look at the next shot. Okay, gang, this is a situation that might not be so obvious to many of you. We're on the 6, we want to get on the 7. One of the things that we could do is we could shoot this with a little bit of right, come off the rail, and come over here to get on the 7. Aren't you worried about that? Me too. I rather come from this direction to get on that 7 ball and move in line with the shot. So what we're going to do in this situation is we're going to get a little bit tricky and we're going to come off with 2 rails. I'm going to try to get the balls close to the same spot I had them before. We're coming off of 2 and then a 3rd rail to move in line with this 7 ball. So what we're doing is coming from this direction so that we can make the 7 ball in that corner pocket. Once again, it's a draw shot, it's a long draw shot, it has low left hand spin. Once again, even though we're going backwards, it is running English. The shot looks like that. We come off of the 2nd rail, slows the cue ball down. We have perfect position on the 7 ball. This shot is not going to come up a lot, but it is a much better alternative than scratching in this side pocket by trying to play that left hand English to get over here on that ball, or even worse, as most amateurs would do, end up banking the 7 ball in the side pocket after leaving the cue ball over here. So keep that shot in mind, because just like all the other shots, it gets you position in not just this position, this play, but in other scenarios. You just hold up the cue ball a little bit, or in some cases you might need to overdo it so that you come off of that rail, this rail, and come further off the rail to get position on a shot, depending on how the balls are situated. So one worth practicing. Is a pretty shot, but it's also logical because you're moving in the line with the shot, which is something you want to do as often as possible. Okay, gang, now we're going to shoot our simplest and most fun use of running English and multiple rail position. What we're going to do is we're going to play this pocket hanger to get us on the 7. Whether you're playing 8 ball or 9 ball, you have a similar situation. Some 8 ball players might be thinking, I'll shoot the 7 ball first. I'm down here, I have a shot on the 7. Well, we're almost 100% sure we're going to get position on this 7 ball. And rather than shoot the 7, go down there for the 5, and then try to get on the 8, what we're going to do is we're going to come off with 3 rails. Actually, we'll play off of this rail and this rail. We'll end up hitting this rail, but we're going to hold it up so we have a good angle to get on that 8 ball. We don't want to be too straight, and we certainly don't want to scratch here. We're not going to have an angle to scratch, so we don't need to worry about that. But we don't want to overhit it and get too straight in on this. So we're going to shoot it with nice speed. Some of you are thinking, hey, I want to go off of this rail, and then that rail, and then this rail. You can do that. But anytime you add another rail to your position play, you are making it that much more difficult. You can make this shot by hitting that ball almost full. We're going to cut it in just a little bit. We're going to add high left-hand spin on it, not too much top spin or it'll end up stalling at that end of the table. So straight down, high left. We come around, we hit right over here for our chalk target, and we have perfect position on this 7. Some of you are saying, oh, look at that angle. This is the perfect angle, because keep in mind, we're not playing a game called 7-ball. We're playing a game called 8-ball. And we might even be playing a game called 9-ball. So we want to make sure that we have position on every shot, not just that one shot. You guys have to keep that in mind. You beginner players, you novice players, keep in mind, you're always playing 3 balls out. Don't get too straight on these shots or you're going to be stuck. That's all I have for you today. Those are your 5 must-have pool shots. Make them your own. Use those shots to get positions other than the ones we laid out. Remember, the ball's moving around the table. You can stop it anywhere you want to get position on a different shot. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, thumbs up, all that good stuff, and have a great day.